What's going on, guys? Fiercest here with FlytPath.com. Now in this video, it's more of a first impressions video of how I've been able to use these two cameras. Now here is a new GoPro Hero 8, and of course here is a DJI Osmo Action. There's a bunch of things that I want to note of how I've been able to use it more on the user experience side, instead of not just looking at every single spec. I'll definitely go into more detailed videos in the future, but here I just want to tell you more of my experiences of using these two cameras for the past week. Some of the things I like and don't like about each one of these, so let's get into that video right now. And if you guys are new to my channel, my name is Fiercest. I do a lot of drone tech tips, tutorials, and product reviews right here on this channel. So if that's something that interests you, consider subscribing and also hitting that bell to be notified when I post new videos. Now when it comes to owning action cameras, I've actually owned, I think pretty much all the GoPros. I have a lot of the older ones. Here is the 5 and the 7, which I've talked about in previous videos, but definitely had almost all the lineups of GoPros, and then of course a game changer when the Osmo Action came out, and I've been using this one since then. But of course we now have the GoPro Hero 8, which has a lot of the new features, a little bit of form factor change. So let's talk about some of the things about these cameras that really stood out to me when I've been using them. But at the same time now, a lot of people are just using them as their all-purpose camera, mainly because they're fully rugged, has decent audio, and of course you can, get these waterproof, dirty, whatever it is, and you don't have to do that with your cell phone, or you're not gonna be able to do that with your mirrorless or DSLR camera. So that's where these cameras live, and I think that's why a lot of people are buying these or still using these, is because it sits right in the middle. Being able to use this as an all-purpose vlog action cam, but still get high quality 4K footage out of them and not have to worry about damaging them or breaking them too much because they are pretty rugged. These are things you wouldn't normally do with your phone or a bigger DSLR mirrorless camera. So that's why these things are really just all-purpose types of cameras. Now, of course, if you vlog or just shoot in general, having crispy audio is gonna be a very big deal. I like the fact that GoPro Hero 8 upgraded their audio. They also have a mic here at the very front, and also here at the very bottom of the camera. So they have a upgraded mic system, especially if you are gonna be vlogging, that the mic is not just positioned here. On the Hero 7, it was a small one at the very top. Here they have it right below the lens. How does the audio sound while I'm doing this? I'm out of breath because I'm out of shape, but how does the audio sound on these? Right now we're just walking back. How does the audio sound? We have the GoPro Hero 8 right here. We have the Osmo Action on this side. The audio hopefully sounds a little bit better. I guess the GoPro does have these new mics up front, so maybe that's a big deal as far as audio goes, that we have this new mic system up front. So how does the audio sound between the two? Let's switch it up. Let's go from the Osmo Action right over here. How does the audio sound? This is the Osmo Action. The audio coming from the Osmo Action. And then right now we have the audio coming from the GoPro Hero 8. So let's quickly talk about the build of these two cameras. Now, when it comes to the new Hero 8, the one thing that I did notice is that you're not able to change out that front glass. And if you are using this camera as like a full action camera, this glass, just like on my Hero 7 and my 5, are all beat up, scratched up, chipped. And the good thing about the Hero 7 and 5 is that you're able to pop these off and replace them. The bad thing about the new Hero 8 is that you can't do that. So if there's any major scratch or chip on this glass, even though they're saying it's a lot stronger of a glass, if you're an action camera user, I believe you're gonna be scratching this up. And I mean, it's already scratched up just sitting in my bag. Now, one thing with the Osmo Action is that they made this thing waterproof. At the same time, you're able just to unscrew this front element off here. So if you do chip this up, you're able just to swap this out right here, which is that clear glass, or if you wanted to put a new filter on, pretty simple just to screw on a new filter. Now, next feature of the new GoPro Hero 8 is integrating the kind of two-prong system here into the camera, which initially I thought was a genius idea. I thought it was really, really good until they didn't give you any replacements of this bracket here, and I'm looking online and I don't see that you can actually purchase any replacements of it. And that kind of concerns me because of the fact that if this were to break off or something were to happen to it, That's pretty much the only way you can mount this camera. Now, of course, you know, even in the past GoPros, you'd have to have that cage around the camera, very similar to how the Osmo Action is, which I'm okay with because you can always pick up these cages, which seem like they're more available. The one thing I would like to see in future cameras is possibly, yes, still maybe a cage like this, but a quarter 20 at the very bottom that gives you the option to still be able to mount the camera if something were to happen. So even if you had a cage like this and this were to break off, at least you still had the option to go directly into the camera. On the new GoPro Hero 8, they have the battery, the memory card, and the USB-C slot all in this same door right here, which is probably the most frustrating thing about this camera itself. This door right here actually pushes the battery in to keep it secured in there, which means you can't just keep this thing off and hope that you can power it on for a long time, because the battery now can pop out. So on the Osmo Action, you can actually keep the battery locked in there. You can have access to the power on the side. That way you're able to then power it off in an external battery pack and not have to worry about it. And you can keep it within the case as well. And there's almost no way to get to the memory card unless you pull the battery out, unless you have just the longest fingernails in the world. The positioning of the memory card is still the worst thing that they've brought over from the older Heroes, which it's just not convenient at all. This is probably one of the most frustrating things about this action camera is this battery. You can't, like I said, you can't take off the door because it needs to hold the battery in. You know, I don't even know what to say about this part. I think this is just a very, very poorly designed compartment right here. Where here on the Osmo Action, once you open up these locks, it pretty much pops out. There's a very big spring at the bottom of the Osmo Action. On the Hero, you have to open this up, pull it out, and then hope that tab is still there on the battery. And then once you pull that battery out, and the door falls off, then you can get to the battery, and then you can get to your memory card. Now, a lot of people before would always talk about, you know, having that warp look. You know, no one really likes it, and that's the reason why they came out with like linear mode, as well as here it's de-warp. But at the same time, Hero kept that super view, and I think that's kind of staying true to what it is. It's more of an action cam where you're going to want to see and get as much in your photo or video as you possibly can, and that's what the GoPro Hero 8 has over the Osmo Action, is that super wide view. Now, one of the big advantages that the GoPro does have over the Osmo Action is this super view mode. As you can see, if you are into action sports and you really want that wide field of view, as you can see, you can probably see all the way over here. We'll see, I don't have a front-facing camera, so I can't see how far I'm actually going. But with the super view on this Hero 8 right here, you should be able to get a ton of footage or a ton of scenery in the background versus the Osmo Action. That's the one thing I hope the Osmo Action does come out in the next version, is that super view mode, because if you want to vlog just like this, or if you're doing any action sports, you want to be able to have that camera somewhat close to you, but then still get a big wide field of view. And the next part we'll talk about is more of the user interface of the actual cameras themselves. This is the Osmo Action and this is the GoPro Hero 8. One thing I did notice, and I really wish that the Hero 8 did a little bit better, was use the screen real estate. Now, looking at the Osmo Action, your screen is so much bigger than the Hero 8. Now, of course, we know that the Osmo Action has a full color screen on the very front to see yourself when you're vlogging. The one thing with GoPro is that I swear they never have changed how this screen looks in the very front, which the contrast is just terrible. Like a gray screen with gray text on it. Hero 8 didn't want to put a actual live view in the front. Hero 5 looks the same. It's a gray background with gray text. I mean, they could have at least updated that so the contrast is better to see the information on the screen itself on the GoPro during the day. Or at night, I mean, or at all. When it comes to just seeing what needs to be seen as far as some of your details go, here on the Osmo Action, it's nice and cleaned up. You have a lot of smaller text around, but you're really seeing a full screen right here versus the GoPro Hero 8. You're seeing, you know, all these long buttons here on the bottom and a bunch of numbers everywhere. It's nice that GoPro Hero 8 added presets in here. Now you're able to make custom presets, like if you shot 4K 60 a lot, or if you shoot at, you know, slow-mo a lot, you're able to set these new presets in here, which is very similar to what Osmo Action had for quick switch. The big difference that I found when using it though is the fact that you have to actually touch the screen to get into it. Might not sound like a big deal, but say for instance, I always shot at 4K 60, 4K 30, slow-mo, as well as I always like to take photos. That's great. You can do all those, you can preset all those in here. The difference with it though is that you can access all of them with the Osmo Action on the quick switch button. I can click through with one button all of those, whether it be photo, video, or time lapse or slow-mo. Where here on the Hero 8, you have to go into mode, then you have to pick which mode it is. Like if I want to do photo, I have to go to photo, then click photo with the screen, and then I can get to my custom presets. So you're not able to get to all of those custom presets just by pressing the button. You can only switch the mode, but then after that, you have to now go onto the screen, which might not sound like a big deal, but for, say, action sports people where they're out and about and they want to quickly switch, and maybe you're wearing gloves, having a physical button to get through all of your quick switch ones versus here you have to switch modes and then touch screen ends up being a big deal. Now, last but not least, we of course have stabilization. Now, the new Hyper Smooth 2.0, they did step it up a little bit more on the Hero 8 as far as some of the stabilized footage. Now at the end of the day, which one am I going to choose? This here we have the Hero 8, and right here we have the Osmo Action. If I were to pick one camera as my all-purpose camera, I'm gonna go with the Osmo Action. Now, even though the Hero 8 did improve on things like audio, some of the stabilization, and they do have a little bit more range as far as the viewing options goes, as far as an all-in-one package, I definitely have to give it to the Osmo Action, because of the fact that also we have that front screen, which is a very big deal for an all-around camera. Now, if you're just looking at action cameras and you just want to mount it somewhere, you're not going to look at it anymore, you want to throw it in super view because you want a very, very wide field of view, then I definitely think the GoPro would satisfy those needs. I believe that these action cameras do sit in a place in between the cell phone and in between, you know, a mirrorless or DSLR camera where people want to have a little bit of everything. And I think the Osmo Action does provide a little bit of everything. Now, the GoPro will be coming out with, you know, the monitor, but you're also going to have to deal with buying external accessories, buying that cage, then buying another monitor, and then buying another monitor that's going to flip up. That's of course going to bump up the price as far as the overall price goes, where the Osmo Action already has a full color screen right in the very front. There's definitely some things that I think the Osmo Action will need to improve on, of course, and that's something like some of the video lag. But some of the things that really turn me off with the Hero 8 is those user experience portions of it. When it comes to the user interface, when it comes to the battery compartments, when it comes to the actual mounting system. I mean, actually the mount on here on the GoPro 8, it's actually starting to wiggle. Like, you can actually turn the mount sideways, so you can't really fix that anymore. So that's about it. Yes, the GoPro might have a marginal edge on some of those categories, but I think as an overall all-purpose camera, I'm definitely gonna have to give it to the Osmo Action. As always, guys, if you guys got some value from this video, a big like would be very much appreciated. Also, I'm gonna put a playlist up here for more GoPro footage, more comparisons, more reviews, more product reviews, and things like that. And as always, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos. This is Ultra Stasio with FlytPath.com. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.